this is just my setup. I don't have any mannequins yet, so I just kind of use pictures of myself and yeah, work with what I got. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here with me again. I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited to be back. It has been way too long. For those of you who are new, my name is Veronica, and I am the owner of Virtuous by Veronica Boutique. And today we are going to talk about everything you need to know and bring to have a successful boutique pop-up shop. I don't know if you were able to catch my video a few months ago, but I was blessed with the opportunity to host my very own pop-up shop inside of my local mall. That was a really great experience, and it really inspired me to continue to put Virtuous by Veronica out there. So since then, I have done countless pop-up shops at local swap meets. I really think they're worth it. I've learned through trial and error just what the best practice is as far as what to bring, how to really stretch your dollar, how to prepare. And that video was the highest ranking video on my page. So that lets me know that there are other faith-based entrepreneurs out there who are looking for advice, and I'm happy to help. So without further ado, let's get started on everything you need to know and bring to host a successful boutique pop-up shop. Okay, so first we are going to start with your basic necessities for a successful pop-up shop. So all of these items are things that you saw in the clips of how my pop-up looked. So just to kind of go through the items one by one, we're going to start with this easy 10 by 10 instant shelter pop-up. I bring this to all of my outdoor pop-up events, rain or shine, because it provides you shade and it provides you shelter in case anything outside of your control were to happen. So that's always something really nice to have. I got this particular shelter from Big Five. I paid about $100 for it. And so this is the box that it came in. And then inside of the box came this holder. And this is the part that I take with me everywhere. So it has all of the supplies in it. And then so it's like stuffed in there like that. So it makes it really easy to transport. For the shelter, I also purchased these weights. It's like the brand is Quick Shade Universal Weight Plates. So that would be these. And these I put, I have 2 out right now, but in the box there came with 4, and you put them around the legs of the shelter so that if there's wind or just anything, these weights will hold it in place. And trust me, these come in handy. I was really iffy about whether or not I wanted to buy the weights. I believe it was $20 for the weights. I was really iffy about purchasing it, but it was a really, really great decision because they definitely come in handy. I always bring 2 rolling racks when I go out to my pop-up shops. That's how customers can shop. They'll have these racks to choose from. So I purchased this rack from Walmart, And it's, you would think that adjustable folding racks were easier to find, but they really aren't. I searched all over Amazon. I searched different places, and there's all different kinds of clothing racks, but there's very few options when it comes to ones that are easy for transporting. So that's why I really like this one. When I take it, it's just a piece like that. So the base and everything, once you put it together, you can leave it like that. And then the sides just lift up like that. It's super, super easy. And then you put this piece on top and you're good to go. So I bring 2 of those with me when I go out. Something else you'll need are, I would definitely say, rugs. If you're bringing clothing racks, I put the rugs underneath the clothing rack because clothes on hangers outdoors are bound to fall off. So I made the mistake of not having rugs during my first outdoor pop-up shop, and it was so frustrating if something came off of the hanger, or if a customer came by and was looking through the rack and something fell off of the hanger onto the ground. So this protects your clothes from falling onto the ground. They'll fall onto carpet. And I found these at Ross, super cheap. I paid probably like $5 for this one, like $10 for this one, maybe $10 for that one. And they really do add a nice touch to your pop-up shop too, because not a lot of people invest in flooring for swap meet shops. Another item I would definitely say to have is a chip and swipe reader, so a card reader, so that you can take electronic payments. This is very, very useful. Like, I bought it for $29 on Shopify, and it increased my sales because it's another form of payment, right? A lot of the time at swap meets and at pop-up shops, it's pretty standard for vendors to only take cash, but you open the door to a lot more opportunities when you have electronic card readers, because these days, who's really carrying around cash? So I would definitely recommend having this. Really secure, connects through Bluetooth straight to my phone. The POS system that you use it with is really easy. It gives you the capability to send receipts. Like, it's so worth it. So I would definitely recommend having a card reader. These, you've probably been wondering, are bungee cords. If you are doing an outdoor pop-up shop, I would strongly recommend bungee cords if you're doing a pop-up shop where you're using clothing racks, because I learned the hard way from an outdoor rack. I didn't bring bungee cords the first time I did an outdoor pop-up shop, and my stuff was tipping over. The whole clothing rack was tipping over. Like, I didn't even know that was possible for the whole clothing rack to tip over. I'll insert some footage, because I was actually able to get some footage one day when I actually had the cords on. But had they not been on my rack, it would have been a really, really rough day. Next, we'll take a look at what's in my storage bin. So I bring this whole container with me as well when I go out. And I have another car now, but before, I was hauling all of this stuff in an Elantra, a Hyundai Elantra, really small 4-door version. So if I can get all of this in there, then, and the inventory, we're not even gonna start there. But yeah, all of the inventory, and well, not all of the inventory. I didn't bring every single item, but all of that and all of this in a Hyundai Elantra, carrying it by myself. So yeah, let's go over what's in the box. So this is a tablecloth. So I don't personally have a table. I do want to get one. At the swap meet that I go to, they offer the option to rent a table for about $5. So I rent a table every time I go. But of course, after a few times, it's worth it to buy your own table, because after a while, you're wasting money because you could have owned a table at that point from renting it so many times. But this tablecloth, I found it at Walmart, $10. Really adds a nice touch to my table. It just brings everything together. Those aren't necessarily supplies that we need. I have this tray. You might remember this tray from my last video of my first boutique pop-up shop when I was getting ready. And I found this at Ross. And now I use this to display all of my eyelashes. This fanny pack. I use this. I clip it. Oh, it's a little, got chocolate or something on it. But I wear this instead of having a cash drawer because this was more economical for me for right now. So I feel like a fanny pack works great. I put the cash in the top zipper and then coins in the small zipper. And it has worked out lovely for me. And then lastly, inside is the signage. Signs are what is going to attract people over to your booth, because that's what you're at the pop-up shop for. You're, wanting to bring awareness to your brand and to the message that you're trying to share. And I definitely recommend signage if you don't have mannequins. I don't have mannequins. A lot of people don't know mannequins are super, super expensive. So when I got these signs made, this was kind of like me improvising, because on the back, they're able to stand. So if it's not windy, then I stand them up like this on a table, the same way we would stand up a mannequin, except it's a photo, and it gives that same effect. You're able to see what the garment looks like on a body without, having a mannequin just yet. And again, I got these from Walgreens. They're always having some kind of online sale. I've got all of these signs for like less than $30. And then I would recommend, because I didn't do this all overnight either. Like I gathered up this stuff because I knew at some point I was going to want to do pop-up shops. And so, I just started getting ready and collecting some things that I thought I would need. Other things I like to have are, of course, shopping bags. I'm still working on getting some customized, but until then, anytime somebody purchased something, I have these bags that I found at various discount places, Ross, Target, wherever. So I bag it in that with some tissue paper to make it look pretty, and then I'll give them a flyer or whatever I have available at that moment. And those are all the supplies for the pop-up. So that's pretty much it as far as all of the items that I use to set up my pop-up shop. One item that I did leave out were these plastic bags. I use these, as you can see on some of the stuff behind me. I use them to protect the garments while they're in transport. They actually came with the items that I purchased for inventory, and I'm the type that likes to keep things and kind of recycle them. But you can also find them at your local dry cleaner as well. So one thing I did want to do in this video that I think will be really helpful to everyone watching is to answer some of the questions that you guys have left me in the comments on my last video about boutique pop-ups, and some of the questions that you guys also sent me through my DMs on Instagram and Facebook. So I did write some of them down, and the first one that I will answer that I thought was a really good question is, do you work your pop-up alone or do you bring a partner? So personally, I do work the pop-ups by myself. Well, me and God. If it were up to me, if I could find someone to hire or someone to partner with to accompany me on pop-ups, I think that would be really awesome. Just because it's always nice to have a second person there in case you get a crowd, which does tend to happen most of the time. You could be chilling by yourself for a few minutes. The next thing you know, you have 5 people who all have questions at one time. And I feel like I can handle it because I worked years and years in retail, but again, it would just be nice to kind of have someone who could answer questions as well, and even do things like keep an eye on inventory, because as we know, not everyone has the best of intentions. So if you do have someone that's willing to volunteer, or you're at a point where you could afford to bring somebody with you, I would definitely recommend having a partner at your pop-up shops. And a partner also comes in handy when it's time to pack up, load up, set up, all of that good stuff. It just makes everything so much easier. A lot less sweat on one person. Okay, the next question is, how long do the pop-ups last? When I did the mall pop-up shop, that one I did from about, I think it was like 10 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. It was pretty much whenever the mall opened to whenever the mall closed, which is another good reason to have a partner, because now that I think about it, when I was doing the mall, when I had to leave, like to go to the restroom, that was like really stressful, because you know, you don't want to just leave all of your inventory there, because again, people don't have the best of intentions. And so I was blessed to have someone not too far from my booth who would watch it for me while I went to go like grab a drink or use the restroom. But if I had a partner who could break me or something, that would have been really awesome. So yeah, at the mall, was there all day. And when I go to the swap meets, those are from about 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. So that's 8, yeah, like 7, 8-ish hours. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to really get your stuff out to the people. Question number 3. How much inventory do you bring? That is another really good question. As mentioned earlier, I do not want to bring everything on this rack. I made that mistake probably the very first time, because I was just like, I don't want to forget anything, or I don't want someone to come and then I don't have it. I mean, if you have the manpower to bring all of your inventory with you to a pop-up shop, then do it. More power to you, because you can watch it, you have help setting it up. But for me, since I'm doing it alone, I try to do what I know works. Like, of course, it'd be great if I was gonna bring all of my merchandise and all of my merchandise sell out, which, you know, could happen one day, but it hasn't yet. So what I do is I tend to bring like one of each size, maybe, of each item. Or like even with my lashes, I'll bring like maybe 2 pairs of each lash style and things like that, just so that I'm not like just really breaking my bag. I mean, that would be a lot for me to take all of this with me every single time I had a pop-up shop. by myself. So yeah, I bring about one of each size, maybe two of each lash style. And I also make sure to always do inventory before I leave, like an inventory of what I'm bringing to the pop-up shop so that I can keep track throughout the day, just to kind of make sure that my numbers are right. Because even though I don't want to keep saying this throughout the video, even though I'm a faith-based business, sometimes when you're inside of the mall or you're at these pop-up shops, not everyone has the same faith as you. And although you believe that it's wrong to steal, not everybody is on that same boat. So that's another reason why, especially if you're by yourself, I would not bring all of the inventory with me if you're there by yourself. But if you have the manpower to do it, then why not? The next question is it expensive to lease a space for a pop-up shop? So that is another good question. So let's start with the swap meets. That, no, not expensive. For denials, I pay between $25 and $30 to rent a space on the weekends. And so there's not much pressure at all to try to make back, the amount that you spent for rent, because, it's only $20-$30 to sign up. The mall, on the other hand, I would share that number with you guys, but in this situation, I feel like it's a situation where God just truly had favor over me. And although that was a deal that I was able to make with my local mall, I'm not sure if the owner would be willing to make that exact same deal. So I don't want to put the owners on the spot. But what I will say, based on what I know about how a lot of the malls are working now, is to contact your local mall manager and let them know your circumstance, let them know, about your business and what your goals are, and see what kind of agreement you guys can work out. Because believe it or not, especially after the pandemic, a lot of the landlords and managers are much more willing to work with businesses, especially new businesses, because, we're out here trying. You would be surprised with some of the arrangements that you can make. So if you really are interested in, starting a pop-up shop inside of the mall, especially during the holiday season, I would definitely recommend reaching out. So that's what I have to say on that. And the very last question that I am going to answer for you guys today is, do you make a lot of money from pop-up shops? So, a lot is a relative term, if I even needed to say that. The most that I've made at a pop-up shop, I don't know if I want to talk about my personal income just yet. That's something I haven't quite decided on. What I will say about the amount from pop-ups, especially if you're doing a swap meet to where you're not paying much to be there in the first place, that anything you make on top of that is a lot, is something that should be celebrated, because you are a new business and somebody voluntarily took interest in your item and purchased it. So anything that you make above what you spent on your property, on your space, I feel is good, is a lot. For me personally, I don't do pop-up shops strictly for the money. When I'm there networking, I'm there introducing myself to people, I'm there sharing my vision, and just kind of letting people know like what I'm all about and where the inspiration came from, and just getting to know who my potential target audience could be. Even if you're just looking to be an online only store, until you gain that trust with your target audience, until you've built that brand awareness, I think it's vital to build that in person through avenues like pop-up shops at swap meets, so that you can start showing people in the online world, like, okay, people are buying these items do exist. So, and also it's really good for people who are just starting out and want to build up their inventory. A lot of the inventory that I have now, I was able to purchase through the money that I was making at pop-up shops, because sometimes, a lot of the times, it's easier to sell in person than it is online, because online people are less likely to trust you. They don't know you. They haven't seen you in person. They haven't seen the items in person. They don't know if you really have the items. Whereas when you have your whole shop set up, everything's right there. Like, there's nothing to be weary about. So I would definitely recommend a pop-up shop, especially if you've never tried one out before for your boutique. I think it's a great idea, and it's a great feeling when people recognize you, when you're there regularly and people start coming back and they're looking for certain items that you have. I just feel like it's really, really great practice for any business owner, is to start setting up their own shop. So I think that is all of my thoughts on that. Those are all of the questions that I wrote down, that I read in the comments and in my DMs, that I thought would just be really helpful to answer. I did respond to a lot of them there, but I figured they probably weren't the only person who had that question. So I really, really hope this video was helpful to you all. I hope that if you've never done a pop-up shop before, that this gives you great insight on how to have a successful one. I hope that you really took some key points away from this video. And if you have any other questions or any other suggestions for videos that I can make that would really be helpful to all of my faith-based entrepreneurs, then let me know. And like I said before, I'd be happy to help. Thank you guys so much again for stopping by. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe by clicking the red button below. Also, be sure to visit me on virtuousbyveronica.com and at bbvboutique.com to shop my collection and see all of the new things that we have going on. And other than that, I'll see you in my next video.